but it's frozen. But when I first tried it, it was exactly what I wanted it to be, like
Hey.
strawberry and cake, and it was just like the perfect blend. And I was like, chef's kiss.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. You're listening to The Cool Table. We are in the cut with Getchnah.
Hello.
It is a pleasure to have you on the show. For anyone who's listening and watching for the first time, we challenge our guests to finish a tub of ice cream before the end of the conversation. Big shout out to Chris and all people at Eva's Chimneys for giving us ice cream. Tell the people about the flavor that you chose today.
Okay. I got strawberry cheesecake. And do you want me to try some right now?
Of course.
It looks like deliciousness on the inside. It's frozen right now.
I love that. Looks like delicious.
But it's frozen. But when I first tried it, it was exactly what I wanted it to be, like strawberry and cake, and it was just like the perfect blend. And I was like, chef's kiss.
Okay, I like that one. Exactly what I wanted it to be. You don't hear that often about something. So.
That's true.
Yeah, that's a good one. We finally got new music. It feels like it's been 47 million years since we dropped something, but we finally got new music for you. When I saw the name of the project, I basically almost had a brain aneurysm trying to pronounce it. So tell us, is it Gem in I? How are you pronouncing it normally? Like, give us a rundown on that.
Yeah, so it's called Gemini.
Okay.
Kind of like Gemini, like the horoscope.
Okay.
I am obviously a Gemini.
Obviously.
And I was like struggling to find a title. I was like, what am I gonna call it? And throughout my journey, I was like really finding myself and realizing all all the stuff that I thought like wasn't me. Like I'm not that chick. I'm like not bad. Like I'm like just putting yourself down for no reason. And like through this process, I was just like, no, like a lot of the time, like people are the ones who are putting these like coals, for example, coal on us, right? And as we grow up, we're just like a ball of coal and we have to learn to like chip it down. And I found the gem in me like through this process. So I was like Gemini, double entendre to also being a Gemini.
Okay, perfect. I like that. I guess I was just thinking of it too deep and trying to make sure that I wasn't missing nothing. But I like to hear that, you kind of feel like you found yourself and you found that gem inside yourself. Now, I feel like I felt that listening to the project. I have in my notes here. You basically start off the project by saying, I'm back. And like you have the energy on this project and you do a lot more like talking on some of these songs too. And it's like RIP to the dog, but it has like a DMX energy of like, yeah, like it's about to go down right now.
Oh my God, thank you.
So tell me about the intro, Come For. When you had that little intro. It's even like kind of even what J. Cole did on his last project. You had that little intro where you're like, yo, y'all know who I am. Like I'm back. Yeah. Like talk about putting that on the intro.
Okay, so I wrote that song actually 2 years ago, and I was gonna put that out for 2020 when I was like totally working on a whole different project. And I kept it because I was like, I still believe that when I come back, I want to come back with a bang. And I was like, I got to keep that song. And I just wanted to say like, what's up? Like, I'm here. I'm never leaving. I might take a minute to make some music, but just know it's good. I promise you that.
That's kind of the energy I felt like with it too. Like it set the tone for the project because you have that confidence and you're being like, yo, what y'all about to hear is about to be something serious. So I'm a really big fan of intros on our album review podcast. We always talk about intros, setting the tone for what you're about to hear, and especially because you know, the first voice you hear on a project is important. You know, the sound is one, but the first actual voice you hear, and for that to be you speaking, I think that's pretty powerful. So I really felt that when you put that on the beginning of the project. Talk about the process of making this kind of, again, this is like your first project in a hot minute. Like you did it in the quarantine as well. So it's like, talk about, you know, just the process of making it and then thinking about actually putting it out without being able to do shows and that kind of thing.
Right. Um, I had a feeling like if I release a project, everyone I know is gonna listen to it because I've been saying I was gonna release a project, and this is my debut like project. Like I haven't put out like a beginning to end project, right? So I was like, okay, I need to be picky and I'm gonna take my time. So yeah, it took me 2 years to like release more music, but I could tell you 10 years from now, if I go back to this project, I would be like, damn, like I love every song, right? And I wanted to make sure on top of that was that if you go to each song individually, it still stands alone. You know, it's not like this one's like, I'm going to this project for this one song. It's like, no, you're going to this project for all the songs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
For the full project, for a full vibe. When did you kind of decide, because you said you're working on a project before, so when did you decide to be like, whatever I'm working on before, that ain't it, this is what it is now? And like you said that also, you know, the intro is a song you had like 2 years ago. So you know, which songs, I guess, did you have from before you pulled apart, or which songs did you make with the new energy that you got?
Okay, so Come For the first song, and then also Likes and Licks, LLCC, the third song on the track, on the whole EP. And I kept them both because I felt like they still resonated with me, because the reason why I dropped the old tracks, I was a different person last year. Like I'm totally different this year. I actually started to like go to therapy and stuff. And like, I feel like artists don't really talk about those things like mental health. And yeah, I was just like, I was really trying to put on this like kind of like of a mask, right? And that was like my project that I was working on last year. And I'm like, I don't want to put that out. I want people to get to know me a little bit, even though it's hard for me to put that in my work. You still get a little bit of that throughout the project. And I was like, that's why those songs, I chose them and I wrote them compared to the old project.
Yeah, I guess it feels like a little more authentic, you know, like it's more authentically you, and it's kind of what you wanted to push forward. Now, you talk a lot about balling up on this project, and the fact that you even laughed as you knew what I said when I said that lets me know what type of time you're on. And on Need Mary,
Yeah.
you mentioned blunts. Now, as a blunt smoker myself, that one hit me in the heart, and I said, okay, we're on the same page here. And I thought that was so interesting because there's times in this project on a few different songs where you're talking about smoking, but you're talking about specific things that you like. You're saying pass the raw or pass the blunt.
Yeah.
First of all, tell me about your relationship with blunts, and then we'll go on to the next question.
So I'm actually slowing down because I was just like, I'm using it to cope with like my anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, if people with anxiety are listening to this, it's probably not the best thing to do. Do it when you're like more calm with your life.
Mm-hmm.
Like, don't do it as a coping mechanism, like never, ever. But there's like a funness to it, like weed and marijuana. I'm like, there's like people, especially like girls, we're not allowed to talk about doing weed. It's like you don't really hear artists that like smoke unless you're Summer Walker. Does Summer Walker talk about smoking weed?
Sometimes, but you're right. It's not something that's like in a lot of their content.
Exactly. And I want to kind of normalize that because I'm like, there's a lot of us. Like I could go to the street and be like, that girl smokes. Like, hey, do you smoke? She'd probably like, yeah, you know? And Need Mary specifically, when I heard the beat, I was like, this song, I just want you guys to just like ball up, have it in the background and just chill. Like it's just super chill.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah. Mm-hmm.
Nah, I like that you're talking about normalizing it and making it something that kind of everyone can put in their music. And I thought on Need Mary was like, you kind of start there, chill, laid back track. And then as well, it's like, you don't often hear like a women doing like a call and response type in terms of them saying, you know, come smoke. Like they may talk about smoking themselves, but I think that was cool that you're like, okay, we all can smoke. We can all do this together. Do you have a favorite song on the project right now? I know it might be hard and it might change every day, but is there one that's like your favorite right now, at least?
Favorite right now. I want to say all of them, but if I had to choose one, I would say Take It Easy.
Okay.
The second last song. I feel like that's a song I wrote when I was like really taking myself too seriously, and I do that too many times. So it's a go-to song. Like if I'm feeling shitty or if I'm feeling a little down or I'm just like not grounded, I go back to that song and I'm like, yo, like we are on a floating rock, and let me just remind myself and remind everyone, like we're literally like this significant. So don't take life
No,
seriously.
for real, for real. I like you said, that's my favorite song too. So,
Yeah.
once again, we're on the same page with that one. And you're right about like taking yourself too serious. My dad and I had a conversation about that recently, and he
Oh
said that
yeah.
something he admires from me is that I don't take myself too seriously, and he needs to learn that. And hearing someone at his age talk about taking themselves too serious, personally, I would feel like the older I get, the less serious I'm gonna take myself.
Yeah.
But it's not. It doesn't always feel like that, and especially the pressures of adulthood. You kind of turn yourself into a stress ball in that way. So it's like, take it easy is like you can understand that of the song without even hearing the lyrics, which is what I like about it. And it just has that kind of vibe to it. You got my boy Lexicon on the final song
Mm-hmm.
on the project. We Gonna Whine. When I heard this one, I said, yo, this one is bashment time. Talk about making that song during the quarantine, because I can't imagine you giving someone a wine in at least 18 months. So talk about that song.
Oh my God. Okay, so this was like, I was thinking about like when I go out in the future, when COVID's kind of simmered down and clubs are opening or whatever. And like, what kind of song do I want to make? Like, I'm a dancer. So the biggest thing for me, especially when I'm making music, I want to be able to dance or move some sort of way with the type of beat I choose and the type of melodies I create, right? So We Gon' Wine was actually the first song that I wrote specifically for this EP. And I was just like, yo, I gotta have Lex on this. And I've known Lex for like 3 years now. I was working at a studio and he would like come there and just like write. And I just saw like all the work ethic he has and like the amount of work he puts into his stuff. I was like, I need someone like him in my project. And even with the guys on Take It Easy, like they have like a great work ethic. And I was like, I sent the voice memo and I was just like, here, I just like recorded a demo. Let me know what you think. And then he was just like, he's like, I already wrote my verse. Like literally in 10 minutes, he's like, I already wrote my verse. And I was just like, it's a banger. Like I finished the song in 10 minutes.
I'm like, when I heard it, I'm like, this sounds like Lex for sure. Like, there's no way he would even think twice to get on this. Yeah, it's like that's one of the few times where I'm like, it's a perfect marriage on that track right there. Like you say, sometimes features don't always help, but that's one where it's like, nah, it's perfect. Like that fits completely.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
there's this there's a saying that says the top 5 people in your life help make you who you are. So who are your top 5 people who help you be you?
I would start off with my dad, rest in peace to him. Since I was young, like he would teach me how to break dance. And when he passed away, I was like, I don't want that to end. Like, I don't want my dancing like career to end there. So I kept pursuing dance. And then once I started making my own money, I put myself through school and stuff and like classes. And that's my dancing journey. And then my sister, so actually, I was at the Ryerson nursing program for a day and I dropped out because I was like, yeah, I'm not going to force this onto my life anymore. I did that in high school. Biology taught me some things, thank you, but no, like not for the rest of my life. And she drove me to like a bunch of open houses for audio engineering. And I chose a school and then I finished. And then my music journey started from there. Yeah, so her, I don't have many people in my life. It's kind of sad, but
If your 5 is a 2, we're cool with that. We're cool with that. As long as you got some good people. So your 5 don't have to be a 5. Your 5 is a 2, that's no beef here.
Okay, let me try to think for like one more person. Cause like, yeah. One of the okay, sorry, I was gonna do a dark joke, but I was like, let me just I would say two of my girls.
Okay.
So that's two of them, and specifically them because when I was pursuing music, they weren't the friends that were like, you need a plan B. They were like, when you need a plan B, that's when we'll figure out the plan B. But
Mm-hmm.
till then, you're gonna go for this music shit. And those are the type of people you need, because I feel like a lot of people get so scared when you like dream so high. They're like, you should have a plan B, C, D.
Mm-hmm.
But I needed people around me who are just like, you're doing something great, just keep going. And I love them for that.
No, that's real. You need those people for sure. And I love hearing everyone's top 5 because some people don't always have those good people in their life. So I'm happy to hear about those people in the top 5. This one,
Yeah.
I'm very excited to hear what your answer is. Whenever people get a lot of money to that $100 million range, they usually get exotic animals. Somehow that's just how it goes. Justin Bieber with his monkey, Mike Tyson with his tiger, Michael Jackson with his monkey. So when you get to the 100 M's, what animal are you gonna cop?
I feel like I feel like naturally I don't think about those things because I'm like, let the animals be.
Mm-hmm.
But if this was like an alternate universe and I'm like, I want an exotic animal, I would say,
This one is
maybe,
fun.
yeah, this is hard because there's so many amazing animals.
Well, you can afford them all. $100 million.
So it's like, can I have them all? But
Yeah. Someone said they wanted a farm. I've heard that before. They're just like, I would just buy a farm. And I was like, that counts.
I mean, even if without 100 million, I feel like I would want a farm. So yeah,
A,
I would say a tiger.
a
Why not?
tiger. Okay. Okay. A tiger's a good one. Yeah. It somehow feels as if it's part of like the deal they make. Like once you cross that boundary, they tell you if you don't buy an animal, we're taking your money away. That's just that
Mhm.
it feels that way somehow. And I like a tiger because aesthetically, I just feel like that's definitely a vibe. And
Yeah.
this is maybe a year ago now, but when Tiger King came on Netflix and we saw all those clips of Homeboy with the tiger, you're like, it's
Mhm.
not so bad. Like some people definitely got hurt, but you're like, you know what? It's some white people stuff, but maybe it's possible. There's a little sliver of
Mhm.
hope there. This is the last one, and we got to give a shout out to our boy Brandon Gibbs, who hosts Wednesday Wisdom every single Wednesday. A new motivational quote to kind of keep you going through the week. Now, do you have any gems that keep you going through the week, or if someone comes to you and they need a little advice, anything that you kind of keep in mind or you tell people?
I would say, I feel like this might sound like everyone says this, but always trust your intuition. And it's hard to listen to it because I feel like as we grow up, like we're told not to listen to our gut feeling, and listen to the mind, but we have a gut feeling for a reason. Like if I didn't follow my gut feeling, like I wouldn't be in music right now. I'll be nursing right now, right? So follow your intuition. It's always right. You're always right. And always listen to yourself.
I like listen. I'm not gonna disagree with that one. You're always right. Listen to yourself. Sounds like great advice to me. I like that one a lot. Trust yourself, listen to
Mhm.
yourself. You're
Exactly.
always right. Yeah, because your intuition knows more than you think it does. So I like that one a lot. I want to thank you for joining us on the show today.
Thank you for having me. I did not even take another bite.
Yeah, you did not even get at the ice cream like that, but you know what? It be like that sometimes. It was kind of frozen. I'm not gonna hold that against you. Next time, you got to actually just do more eating than talking. So you
Okay.
up for this time, but for this
Yeah.
time, I'm gonna let you off the hook. For everyone who has not heard the album yet, Gem in I, right now on all streaming platforms. Make sure you go ahead and bump that. If you're listening to the Cool Table and In the Cut for the first time, subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts, on YouTube as well, on Spotify, wherever you listen to podcast. Make sure you subscribe. Leave us a rating and a review. 5 stars, not a single star less. And of
Mhm.
course, make sure you listen to the Cool Table live every Wednesday at 11 a.m. on CJRU 1280 a.m. Until next time, know yourself, know your worth.
Peace.